Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anisha Dev, a member of IEEE MVSR. I take the pleasure to introduce Sudha Tushara, a dedicated researcher and educator in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data mining. Holding a PhD from Georgia State University, Sudha Tushara has developed expertise in machine learning algorithms, focusing on predicting mental health status from social media data. As an educator, Sudha Tushara aims to inspire students to pursue interdisciplinary research, leveraging technology for positive impact. With a passion for teaching and learning, Sudha Tushara is committed to sharing knowledge and fostering growth. With this, we would like to start the afternoon session.
Ma'am, we are able to see you. Are you going to share your presentation?
I'm still waiting on the share screen. It's still loading. My page is still loading. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, you're able to see the slides. You can go ahead now.
like having this public concern on all of this. We also have a lot of resident issues from over 6,000 cities, and it is much more in lower and in a middle income countries which are actually talking about highest exposure. So the lower and the middle income countries are particularly affected in the highest levels of crime in the particular matter, especially and the nitrogen dioxide exposure that they're actually facing. So this disadvantage is also about stable to do when our leaders go despite and urban areas for less than explain. Another important real group that we want to get today is the youth empowerment and the education gap that exists. The youth empowerment rates are significantly higher than those of the others that are aged 25 and above and reflecting the challenges of job market for the individuals and the strategy of highlighting the advantages to young people who are actually exploring labor empowerment. And it's actually a very, very impact on the global impact of youth. From in general, globally, 1 in 4 youth people and equivalent to almost 259 individuals are not engaged in any kind of education, employment, or training. So this not in education, employment, or training practices was almost an issue. And that is the economic and social of young people. And the implications for the future workforce and economy is the lack of access to education or job opportunities or skill training, which actually creates a lot of gaps to have a long-term effects on the workforce. And this is the issue with the benefits of fostering of the skilled employment or the employment that we could actually contribute to. So call for all of these focused interventions is very, very important. So these kind of statistics are actually happening for intervention and for example expanded education of the current program with like probably excellent job opportunities or diversity environment or the regulation from all of the policies that come into existence. Next slide. So one of the things that we always keep talking about is having a safe and advanced health. So that is something which is also in a very, very alarming state. So for example, you have so many countries like Sweden and Norway, which are great for actually raising the children, which actually indicate around 1% of the GDP to early childhood education and care. This is a very, very big one which is taken about. This is the highest investment amount in the education of providing strong support on the families and for younger children. So comparatively, when we could take spending in US, the United States is ranked among 23, spending only 0.5% of GDP for education or for childhood care. So this story price expenditure contrast about top ranking countries which may impact the economic equality education or something like that. So in global context, there are other countries also like Finland and Canada which also rank high whether robustness of the education or also why they see when their lack of health or something like that. But there are also a lot of countries which are not actually providing a local or basic early health care or childhood education opportunities. Next slide. Also talking about the homeless. So there are almost 1.77 million homeless people in India. Not in India, India has around 0.15% of the total population, but there are other major countries which are where all countries also see a lot of homeless. So in India, city alone and also individuals having survived around 100,000. So these particular individuals who are being homeless, who are actually the new issues among homelessness, these particular homelessness is something which indirectly causes robbery and other kinds of human nature situations. So these are something which we must immediately take action into. Next slide. So there are signs to avoid all of this. We also want to have a lifelong learning. If we talk about a lifelong learning in education or training activity, or also having to have self-learning. So this type of learning occurs in structured settings such as a school or a workplace, handling or a school, or it has a primary goal to teach specific skills or subjects. For example, a formal training program or simple classroom education. So this learning is intended with learning practice and so it's not a forced learning. Self-learning must happen. So self-learning will happen without any kind of a formal guidance or some guidance from some kind of institution. So there are a lot of programs which are courses, free trainings or something like that. So the first thing is to personally initiate all of this and reading about or going through some kind of free activity. So there is some part of unintentional learning also which we do in every day. So we must actually become that. So unintentional learning consists of everyday activities. So where we could go unconscious, we learn some kind of an effort. For example, we learn some kind of a language, cultural differences. You are traveling somewhere to another country. Even if it wasn't your primary goal. You just wanted to go to another country, enjoy, take a couple of pictures and come back. But you're actually learning about that country, how people in that country are actually, what are the economic reforms of the country, what is the dollar exchange of this country or something like that. Or you can also do a teacher without learning. So individuals can individual learning courses to have your enjoyment or relaxation without a takeaway. You could also do a recreational activity or intended learning or any kind of an environmental learning outcome. So we also want to talk about like all of this lifelong learning is a part of quality in early childhood. Private education okay. So in particular, children from social and economic and disadvantaged backgrounds want to make sure that this particular lifelong learning towards the community. So our learning private sectors of all these fundamental skills and awareness, so especially level school value of learning, how to teach it, it's helping us to condition. So these exams that you are going to have an achievement as a narrow band of learning all of the single stream material, rather than allowing you to have flexibility and choice of what you want to learn. And the last one, the next slide, will talk about the opportunities to face in the decision making. So in this we are particularly talking about having to have the say at the initial stage and making challenging decisions. Significantly, 85% of the business leaders report experiences saying decision itself is a bad game. I have experienced that you actually regret or switch or getting your own choice. It's actually impacting a lot of major hurdles where the data, you have data, you have lots of data so that you have around almost last 6 years of data, 3 years of data, 6 years of what happens for the stock. You have extensive amounts of data. So you have to take advantage of all of this. Instead, we have seen a lot of business makers who are taking all of this data. So this is where we actually want to have the technology either help to make some kind of a decision-making approach or data-driven support approach that we actually demand. So there are overwhelming of 27% of the business users who want to have better support of data or insights or one of these tools that we have today on YouTube that we actually start with AI or data all of this to talk about who makes the decision. Okay, next slide. So this is where we talk about the transferring of all around factors into sustainable solution. So we have a lot of things we do, but we have to So I want to talk about each one of them and how we can transform them into the technology that we have. Next slide. So this is the first one where we talk about end poverty in all forms everywhere. So why do we move much forward? The poverty has many dimensions, but it can cause including, like let's say, unemployment or social exclusion or high vulnerability and state populations maybe. So why should I care about other people's economic situation? I'm doing well, so why do I need to talk about the state or the country or something? So there are many reasons for it. But in short, because of human beings, what are very key is actually with each other, whether we want it or not. Growing equally with minimizing economic growth and undermining the social cohesion. We want to have increasing political and also social tensions and also make sure rising this instability and all of these conflicts that we get in this economic situation is again linked back to each and every person. So what we can do about it? We can actually be engaged with policy making proactively and make a difference in everything policy or why it is happening to ensure that your rights are actually promoted, your voice is actually heard, or any general knowledge is shared or to have it. So number one goal is to ensure that good and towards forward. Next slide. So in this, there is a considerable budget is being seen, but the total production is not actually very much budget. It still get the farming, precision farming, or let's say the drone farming services which will actually help a farmer activity. So these are something which we are actually seeing a lot, but not really consistently. You might see some of them for some of the ads or some of the very few technologies which are actually happening or going through all. But this is not something that is happening hundredly. There are some advances that are actually going to see what getting or what the or and everything. We want to make sure we use this technology, make sure we have growth in the next slide. So first step in addressing this particular global hunger is ensuring that everyone has access to enough nutrition. This is creating reliable food systems that reach vulnerable populations, eliminating food deserts, and also addressing the economic barriers that prevent people from accessing the food. For example, the goal number 2 for Kerala is, and Chandigarh, is to stop particularly barriers. So despite all the advancements that we have in agriculture and food distribution and everything, over 790 billion people are owned by the agriculture market. So I want to highlight all of this, particularly that all of the chronic diseases that happen. Next slide. So our technology is going to allow the access of this particular food and nutritious food, biological innovations that we need to get more production and strong agricultural practices that we must need. We must want to make sure to invest. We must make sure to invest in the market, packaging, exporting poultry to other countries, and so all of this will take economic and technological. We also want to talk about the technology that we have. Technology helps in things like researching or the not necessarily as responses or let's say the organ transportation. I want to add to talk about the third one. The slide must say ensure healthy lifestyle and promote well-being for all the ages. So we talked about the organ transport and we plan much research and we want to do this particular decision. There are states in India where like Gujarat and we start with the list of other states in India or to implement the practice. Next slide. I'm also going to come back and talk about the mental health, about how the developing countries talk about and what the research we have. So the next slide will talk about the ensuring inclusiveness and equality for education to provide lifelong learning. In fact, inadequate infrastructure spike of distribution in the last century. There is a lot of infrastructure challenge, particularly in a lot of rural areas. That is basically needs their classrooms, their toilets, facilities, etc. So these are some of the reasons why you might also have lower enrollment rate or low education. So the fundamental right in all of the countries which should actually happen. So these particular low enrollment rates are especially prevalent among girls or marginalized communities who also have to face this discrimination even if it is around. So also coming to the quality of education, which has been based on the curriculum, and that's not always aligned with the job market. What they actually learn is quite different from what they're actually facing in the job or what they're actually facing in the changing world. So the student's world is changing very, very fast, but the curriculum which has changed is going to take a couple of years. And these particular traditional methods of teaching often struggle to promote all the critical thinking or creativity and innovation. And also to things like digital divide which you have, the public has exposed the vulnerability of a lot of education system that we have. So if you have to make a one class online on one day, next day you are all you have to take a huge risk to go online. So why are we facing all of this even in today's world when we have 24/7 internet connectivity? So we have something we have to keep in mind. Next slide. So ensuring of the efficiency, sustainability and the water sanitation is again a basic message that we have to talk about. So these are some of the statistics that we have. And in the next slide you can see the population and growth and urbanization. India is rapidly growing in the population and increasing the urbanization. So there's immense pressure on water resources and sanitization of the infrastructure. Managing the water and sanitation is a larger and exposing population and very, very significant challenges. Water sharing and management disputes between different states within one particular country can lead to a lot of conflict within the problem. So resolve all of this is going to lead to etc. So inadequate funding or investments that we have, so insufficient funds for water, or insufficient funds for sanitization, or the disparities that we use between the rural and the urban, who have access to clean and water, or sanitization with rural and the urban, something like that. So increasing this climate community is also one of the major challenges that we are facing. So we must make sure that we include and with the rainfall patterns, extreme weather events, so all of this is kept in mind. Next slide. So when we're talking about a lot of technology, solutions that we have, the technologies which are being forward to us, so these are something that you could see, like Tinkerlabs. Tinkerlabs will have do-it-yourself kind of skills, and people will actually learn, they will actually go to different experiments, try their own products, or create their products, and solve a particular problem. We have other lab centers, like adaptation centers, these technologies lead to innovation of the labs, with higher learning institutions like your colleges, engineering colleges, all of them. Challenges that we can take with them for the innovation of the course. So that there are a lot of other challenges we can face around the innovations that we can given as a student. Next slide. So next slide. So if you see the next one is sustainability, your cost as a managed resources, which actually contributes to $28 trillion as a global economy. So every year. But this is only for a small part why it is very, very important for our planet. The world's oceans, their temperatures, the chemistry, the current life appearance, the device system that we are in, all of this habitability, our rainwater, the drinking water, and everything is a part. Okay. The next slide. So this is a slide which I skipped earlier to talk a lot more about mental health, when today it is one of the most sustainable issues. Women have been included mental health as one of their sustainable goals today because this is something the entire world is facing to talk about. Okay? So in this, as per our research, we want to take anything as being an advantage of all technologies that we use, like your radio, Internet of Things, robotics, switching, AI, all of this. Then you could take a large amount of data, identify the pattern of the relationship among the data that we can use. So you can predict the market trend, a customer's behavior, a person's behavior, a patient's behavior, or the Internet of Things for today, that you could have all the data devices that are being kept in order, whether it's an organization, a business, or a home, or like a common application like the chip or agriculture, let's say, which actually takes control of officers like monitor the day, determine the property harvest, or if you're talking about smart cities, let's say, which is going to allow you to do traffic control, energy control, just all of it. So there are a lot of advantages like this that we want to cross-check with the technology. But going back, we want to talk about the advantage of all of these technologies. We talk about the mental health. Yes. Okay. So that's when we came across the happiness index. I want to make sure that I am not on my happiness index. The World Happiness Index is based on two key ideas, which is happiness or life evaluation measures through opinions or surveys or by identifying key elements or to determine the possibility or the life evaluation across countries. So now happiness studies back in this particular country or in this world are these questions that actually being solved by Gallup World Poll. So the Gallup World Poll is a survey agency which does computing the World Health Index for the past year. So why did we actually do a research on it, or why did we study it? The happiness index is important because this is something which gives us as how happy we are compared to the rest of the world. India is 125th country in 2023, whereas in 2024, India has become 126. We are much behind all of our neighboring countries like China, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. We are much behind all of our neighboring countries. So why are we behind all of the happiness that we are actually talking about? So one of the major things that we would want to create is sustainability development goals. If we work best at our sustainable development goals, we will get better back. So what did we do to compute and analyze this particular data? Next slide. So we connected tweets which are related to the business keywords, like a couple of the words that you see on the screen, which are difficult failure, focus, words, etc. And we also connected the words which are the opposite of each word, like active, calm, comfort, which are not different in the speech. So these different keywords that you have are these not different. These different keywords have been collected from a researcher Kessler, who seems to ask a lot of questions based upon the movie attention and everything. So from those particular questions, we have selected particular keywords and collected more than 3 million tweets from 2022 onwards every day pertaining to these. They also assume that the human beings' tweets are actually publishing the feelings to Twitter, and people post in social media or to express these particular feelings, and this is the outcome of our feelings. So outcome of this particular investigation should actually inform thousands individual studies which have been actually focused on what we are answering. So these are simple thoughts that people are giving us. So these tweets have been worked on NSC studies, remove cards, stoppers, and anonymous stuff, etc. Next slide, please. We have considered tweets of data from different regions of the world. So we have seen from Sri Lanka, New York, and Georgia. are quite similar to how we have combined and how we have reports from VFX report. So during that or comfort and they concentrated more in these particular results. Next slide. So we also analyzed sleep during the COVID. So this work have already been published with IEEE. This is the next slide, please. So this is the actual data. So like the simple mean average model and our method has also been shown. And here for our predictions that we have more than 95% of the accuracy. And earlier I have mentioned that we are going to work with the different work of data to get the basic human being and interpreting linked towards the sustainability goals, which will help the government organizations or NGOs or any kind of a planning things that you want to implement, how much you have to put in your budget or etc. And due to the cost of time and non-execution products as well, but you can see them as this in management pages. Hope you could actually respond and we could work together. Also saying that thank you for joining me and exploring all the sustainability goals and also to be a part of this project.
Any questions from audience? Okay. Any questions from audience?
Is there any comparison done after pandemic study which was done during?
Is there any comparison done for the post-pandemic scenario? Like we are right now, few years after the pandemic is done, right?
Any comparative study done against what was done during pandemic?
Unfortunately, I have not actually worked on post-pandemic scenarios. We have been collecting a lot of tweets and getting a lot of data, but not working anymore towards the post-pandemic or post-COVID scenario.
Okay, no. Meaning was basically now we are in a stable state. Pandemic was one blip that came in, and we got into back to normal scenario kind of. So now, was there an impact because of the pandemic that created some ripples, or in the normal scenario also we are having those ripples? That was what I was trying to understand.
You mean with the mental health?
I will answer, Tushara. Please wait. Another question is there.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation. Really, a lot of good things. Would like to take the slides sometime. And yeah, this is Sriram, Dr. Sriram Birdavalu. So one of the things is the root causes which were studied by different groups around the world, and also arrived at some of the things. Those have not probably been touched upon. Take a simple example. For example, water. Okay, if you have changed in our childhood, we used to just bathe with a bucket of water and this one. But in many places around the world, they use shower, which is suddenly 100 times more water or 300 times, things like that. Simple habits, these changes and the preferences that people have brought are causing huge devastation in terms of what you call the output, what they are doing. Another thing is the probably the prevalence of more, especially in Western countries, eating more non-veg, for example, switching to that food. If you did that, they will have to produce so much of it. Is proven that it is heavy on the energy. In fact, okay, because you'll have to have more livestock, and probably to produce 1 kilo of meat takes 800 kilos of
Yes, of course.
vegetables,
So there are
I mean,
a lot of things
grains,
that we
right?
actually have
For
to
which
be
deforestation
cutting down
and
to make
all
sure
are,
that the world is much
yeah.
more sustainable and
So-
also renewable. So
Correct.
some of the things is
So-
to actually have to talk a lot.
Yeah, if we keep on churning the data without going into the root causes, probably, if a few things are nailed down properly, probably they will have much vast, great impact across the whole ecosystem. So that's what
Yes, I
I'll
agree
stop
with
here.
you. There are
Thank
a lot
you.
of other root causes that we can actually go through in everyday basis, and like you have said, with water properly from bucket to training to shower, or using a lot of plastic that which we do every day
Exactly.
instead of drinking from the plastic bottles. I'm sure all of us are. So these are some things that we must change as turning into renewable energy, or making sure the world is actually a sustainable place.
Yeah, there are several companies, startups especially, which are working in these areas. It'll be very interesting very good to compare notes and especially study and focus a little on the root causes. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, you want a question? Okay.
Madam, my name is Shiva Prasad. This United Nations Sustainable Goals is a very old concept, madam, but a lot of people don't know about this concept. I think the main solution for this is sustainable living, sustainable house, and sustainable environment, sustainable farming, and a simple way of life, as Gandhian philosophy has said. I think this is one of the solution for this sustainable goals achievement, madam. Am I correct?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the first part of your question.
Okay. Okay. So what he says is that we have to really live in a sustainable environment with low profile concept like that. That is what I think. Okay, Tushara, be online. Huh? See, be online. Basically, in fact, she is my daughter, therefore I know what the work she was doing every day we discuss. In fact, she has more than 3 million tweets collected over a period of maybe 3 years on that to 14 keywords, and they processed it. The main idea of this thing is that the World Happiness Index is prepared by a Gallup report, collection survey report, which they collected more than 195 countries. They collected, are you happy, why you are happy, like that. But that was a direct survey from the people, where people will reply, most of the things are correct. The survey reports are many times will find maybe correct or not correct, something like that. But what Dr. Tushara is attempted to reflect is that the social networks data, what basically has been placed by the people who really post the data, tweets the data, is simply the output of the human community, what they present. From those social network data, she has really made geographical boundaries. They collected the area-wise tweets, and they compared with the tweets with this depressed tweets and the antidepressant tweets, and compare the data with the World Health Happiness Index. It is proven to be similar what really they are reflecting it. And the same thing what they are doing is that their team is doing that. During the time of cyclones also, during the time of many 3-4 cyclones, they basically moved that to cyclones along with the tweets of the same geographical area, how panicked they are, what are the things they are doing. These are the similar, this thing has come. Same thing with COVID, what we, in fact is shown, it was published in IEEE also. This was the earlier publications. Normally, IEEE doesn't give free publication for all the people, but this is one of the publication which was given free, complete. That means you can download, anybody can download the paper. Such a provision was given to this publication because of a huge citation index for the paper. That is one of the things what is done it. Therefore, because I know what is the work every day, I was really briefing on that. One more question.
One last one. So, see, one of the things that is a little strange here I found in your this thing, entire slides, is you're attempting to put everything on an equal pedal, let's say New York here and there, which is not quite true. If you were to take the carbon footprint of an India versus that of US, where it is very common to get into a big fuel guzzling machine SUV and travel 5 miles, which is about 8 kilometers to each a small sandwich. Okay, and burning so much fuel and creating all of these things. Completely unsustainable, which other countries should never ever emulate. It will not sustain at all. Yesterday, I was with a friend and we are going to a coffee shop in Inorbit Mall, and he had just come from US and said, I'm seeing this after living there for some days, such small malls, it seems. I said such small malls. So minimum 1 kilometer malls in which you can build and build for I don't know how much term. It is not going to be sustainable. You are trying to make ACs and everything, cool the whole place. And then there the population is less. And so even if you had clothing stores, how many pieces will you sell each day? Even if you had very large stores for such a small population. So you've got to raise the price high. And then you've got to skew things such that, again, there will be problems in jobs and all these things. So the basic root cause, you cannot put things in the same, these industrialized those nations on the same footing and draw the same graphs on one graph. You could show them. It is just not going to work out. It's my humble submission. Thank you.
I'm not putting all of the countries in one level or one way. I'm actually telling that there are three, I would think that there are three significant different kinds of countries which has a lot of money, like economically very less affordable countries. But what I am telling as a conclusion is that all of these countries are actually facing a lot of common sustainable problems. Let's say homelessness. We have in India, we have in US, we have in Europe, we have everywhere around the world. It's not something that there is only one country which is facing. And all the countries must put in effort to get rid of that.
No, that is there. But when the topic is SDGs, you need to see what is sustainable. So whether that kind of lifestyle or that kind of thing is sustainable here, which are following a totally different pattern. Let's say many of the people here travel in mass transport, right? Yeah.
Definitely not. So so that's the reason why we want to have a say in making economic decisions. So I want to say, I'm sorry. So I want to say what is happening in my place in Atlanta, and you have to tell what is happening in your place in Hyderabad. So that's not something that we could actually determine as a graph or as a whole, as a world.
Tushara, one more observation on the same lines, like while UN might have published this report across countries, I have a difference of opinion on the report itself, because it's not an apple-to-apple comparison. Happiness index in Finland, yes, look at the population, look at the kind of living they are in, and look at the population density what we have in India. So where are all those like similarities? I mean, they're not comparing apple to apple is what my observation. While okay, we can look at the report. I'm not debating anything on that, but just a submission.
Actually, you said there are not a lot of factors that I have considered, but there are a lot of external factors that we have considered. So one of the research factors that we had is when there was a cyclone in Sri Lanka. Okay, so when there is some kind of situation or some kind of a phase, something that they're facing, so how actually it is. And when everything is normal, not like everything is normal in every country, but when there is a balanced situation per se. So what is the side?
Agreed. Only comment I was just making for your study or whatever, the reports, though they are published, the underlying sources or the factors which impact that value, will have to be also taken into consideration if further analysis is being done on that report. That was the only point, nothing else beyond that.
Of course, there should be a lot of other factors to be considered.
You will need to consider majorly, for example, take US. In the past 15, 20 years, it has spent some $4 or $5 trillion on wars across the world and in supplying arms and doing that's causing, I'm sure, a lot of happiness around the world while they can sit there and be happy. You need to consider very large, very, very different and other factors.
Okay, Tushara, because of his paucity of time, our General Secretary MGP Narayanga will speak.
Hello, Andy. Thank you very much for. It's okay. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for accommodating in the last minute, some of the things I requested to tweet to the theme, and you nicely put those, that work that you have done, the Twitter feeds and other things, very nicely have done. And in fact, there is no one answer for this kind of analysis that is being done by this World Health Index or whatever it is. In fact, I think the yardstick could be different for different people. Philosophically saying, in India, we believe in so our happiness is different. We don't believe in nothing else. So that way, we may be less happy compared to the things on equal terms. But the yardstick is varies from community to community. I don't think we need to be excessively worried being directed by somebody who is not really looking at this file. Not about the geography, not about the quality of life, not about the standard of living. It is about the core philosophy that we are adhered to. I think if we take that, I think we can mechanically treat some of these things, but not really deeply taking inside and feeling bad about it. Okay, and thanks, Andy. మీరు nice of your dad to really help us in all these matters. And in fact, we will give the memento to you.
Availability at this late hour in the night coming in.
She's in Vizag.
In fact, I told, in fact, my dad at one point of time, I think you were coming from Singapore to Vizag. Instead, we should have directed you here, and then you would have delivered the lecture today, and then, yeah. But anyway, I think we could do the best in the possible time that is available. And thanks again for taking the time. Thank you very much.
Right, cut చేసి వచ్చినావు.
మీరు ఇస్తున్నట్టే భావించండి ఇస్తారు